The people who need clemency are people who are serving sentences that are excessive. And when we think about who's in prison right now, I don't know what the thought is that enters someone's mind of the prototypical prisoner, but when we're talking about the federal prison population, we're largely talking about people who are in there for drug offenses, and there's another chunk that are in there for firearms and immigration. But, half the federal prisoners are there for drug offenses. And those people are often serving long, mandatory minimum sentences that were based on the quantity of drugs involved in the drug trafficking, in the drug trade. So you can have individuals who, they were a low-level person in a drug conspiracy. They sold drugs on the corner. They were a mule who took drugs over the border. And they don't get big profits from those drugs. They get very little, in fact. Sometimes they're selling to support their own habit. And those people are going to be prosecuted based on the overall quantity of drugs in that conspiracy. So they're going to be prosecuted the same way as the kingpin would, because everybody's going to be held accountable for the quantity. And the mandatory minimums don't distinguish among the role someone has in an offense. So we have a lot of people in federal prison who are low-level traffickers. They're low people on that totem pole of the drug trafficking hierarchy that are sentenced with laws that had in mind kingpins. And those people, when they are charged with these mandatory minimums, they're convicted because they did traffic, but then the judge's hands were tied, and there was nothing the judge could do to give a lower sentence because the mandatory minimum kicked in. And they spend decades in prison, and the only hope that those people have is for the president to give them a commutation.